I was eating potato chips prior to starting this video. Remember that. But I was watching Cold Case Files. Here, Cold Case Files is now on Netflix. And I was so excited because I have an abundance to watch, cases to look at. And then I got bored out of my goddamn mind. And I couldn't figure out why I was bored. And then it hit me. Pacing. The way we pace true crime now is totally different than the way we pace true crime back in the day. Back in the day, about 15 years ago, if you were to watch Cold Case Files, the story is told at a very slow pace, slowly trickling out details. But it goes into one continuous fashion. Today's true crime, if you look at things such as the Richard Ramirez Night Stalker documentary series or Don't Fuck with Cats documentary series, is paced in a way to constantly drive your emotions to leave you on a cliffhanger about every 2 minutes. And you go to Don't F with Cats, it's this big thing, and then it leads up to the guy didn't do it in Florida, and they harassed and he died, and you're riveted up, and before your emotions can really sit in about, oh my God, this Facebook group just got an innocent man kill himself from stalking and harassing him. Before your brain can process that, it goes into the next segment. Different emotional music, driving your emotions, constantly pushing you. Cliffhanger, cliffhanger, cliffhanger. You don't really get to absorb what you're actually watching. They become cliff notes. Maybe this is why, when I watched the Richard Ramirez documentary, The Night Stalker, on Netflix, there were attractive women in the courtroom cheering him on, writing him love letters, wanting to marry him, which to me is the sickest shit ever. Alright, okay, I'm being a little dramatic when I say that because it's going to get really dark in this video here. But I guess if we're not talking about someone being butchered, molested, yeah, sickest shit ever. That bothers me. But those people in the courtroom wanting to marry Richard Ramirez, cheering Richard Ramirez on, is sort of a little piece of our society as we have it today. Films such as Hostel took away us from being ever grossed out or horrified at seeing something because it was so graphic in detail and everything else just comes below it after that. Sometimes we need to do it the cold case file way. Sometimes you need to let the beef stew simmer on that pot so people can truly understand what they are watching. Example, I have never covered a serial killer on this channel, ever. Every case I've covered on this channel, you cared greatly about the victim. What serial killers do is they kill so many people that when you hear of them killing one person, it doesn't really sink in what they did. Because you're just watching a story to see them kill, 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 kill. The individual will become less significant. Take at the beginning of this video when I said that I ate potato chips. It didn't really mean anything to you. It didn't really stand out to you. Just ate some potato chips. What if you saw it? What if you saw it up close? What if you heard the crunching noises as my teeth grinded each individual chip, licking the top of my gums to get wet, soggy potato chip material out so it can go down my throat and get digested with the rest of the potatoes? If I draw this out and let you see every single detail, then me, the simple act of eating chips, becomes all that much more powerful and something you remember. This is something the creators of these documentaries know. because they would not make these documentaries unless they actually did research. And in doing research, the most research they could, they saw the real Richard Ramirez that you guys didn't get to see. So I guess the best thing that came to my mind from watching this documentary on Netflix is to slow it down and just use one of his murders to let you see the real Richard Ramirez. Just one. As I always do on this channel, I don't need the other 14 people that he admitted to killing, which we know is more than likely many, many more. Just one. So to set the stage for you all, I think all of us as adults, when we lock our doors at night, turn off the lights, shut down our home, feel a little safe. I think at one point, we all saw some kind of shadowy figure and got I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just that if my example rings true, the shadowy figure that you were afraid of once in your life when you were tucked in your bed nice and warm was probably a coat that you forgot you didn't want to hang up, so you just put it on the corner of your door to easily grab it the next morning. It's just that you were afraid of an inanimate object that had no way to harm you, or if this never occurred to you, if never happened to you, and you got scared from this video, me using sound effect and over extending the volume. That's it. I can't touch you. I can't bother you. You are safe. All of you guys are safe. But in this one example, imagine it wasn't a coat. Imagine not the home. Imagine your home. The one that you're probably in right now. Imagine waking up to a thunderous firecracker sound and then feeling pellets of water splash on you. Only it's not water. It is the blood squirting from your husband's brains as he's shot in the head. Imagine trying to process this second as your husband you see shot in the head, and you know from watching true crime or anything or movies, you know that he's probably dead. The guy you may have had some small argument with the night before is dead. And before you can really process that your husband is dead, you have to worry about yourself. Some smelly, foul odor, shadowy figure that is not an inanimate object climbs on top of you and forces himself inside of you. Imagine the horror of being raped right next to the body of your deceased husband, or we hope deceased, but none of us really know how fast it takes for a bullet to kill you. Probably if your brain had the time to process all of this, you hope that he was dead and he wasn't laying there helpless, watching his wife be raped. But your nightmare is only just beginning. While you hope that your husband is dead so he doesn't have to lay and hear the sounds of his wife having something forcibly penetrating her body, you will lay there and you will hear this night stalker walk down to your son's room, your 8-year-old son's room, and you will hear the horrible screams coming from your son. Last thing he remembers is probably eating his dinner, watching cartoons, or his favorite show and going to sleep, and he's awakened by a monster in his room that now forcibly penetrates him anally, same way he penetrated his mother. Probably his mother's blood going inside of this little boy. Don't stop. Don't look at me. Don't judge me. I'm not the one that blew over these details. I'm not the one that saw this as a sensationalized story. You did. Imagine hearing the screams of your little boy as he's being raped by this foul-smelling man. Imagine every single time it hurt you that it must be hurting your son 10 times as worse, and that there's nothing you can do about it. Lives forever physically changed as you wake up tomorrow and you have to see the police surround your house, take your husband away in a body bag, yellow tape all around, police all around, you hurting between your legs, your son hurting between his legs, taken to different hospital rooms to be prodded and picked for DNA evidence. You imagine this happening to you. And imagine as you go in the courtroom and you have to point to Mr. Richard Ramirez and say these horrible details of what he did to your husband, what he did to you, and what he did to your son, that there are beautiful, attractive women in the courtroom cheering him on as he smirks at you. That's just one. That's just one. I could do a whole entire documentary about the man that went in and raped the mother and son and killed the husband. That's just one. We're not going to get into the other children that he raped. 6-year-old girl that he raped. Just one. My entire channel has always been about letting you see the reality of what really happens, what goes on with these victims, what goes on with their family. Not to eat popcorn here, not to entertain you. If we're going to move into this new direction of this is how documentaries are made, do yourself a favor and do more research after that documentary is over with. Get to really know these people that are involved in this case. Richard Ramirez isn't a monster because he murdered those 14 people. He's a monster because of the details, because of what happened each night. I found myself researching nerdy stuff. I was looking up mountains, and I looked up Mount St. Helens and when it erupted. And there's this guy who lived on a mountain, and he refused to move. The mountain showed, I think, a couple of months prior, in March of 1980, that it was about to blow, and it didn't blow until May. So for these 2 months, this guy was on the news. He was bragging, saying that he was not going to leave. When Mount St. Helens erupted, it blew him away in 22 seconds. When I quickly say 22 seconds, probably triggers a response in you that, well, at least he died fast. Did he die fast? Let's find out. Did he die fast? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 seconds. Fire, brimstone, pain, pressure. 22 seconds. When they tell you in a documentary that someone was murdered, don't just think they died. See the real horror of what goes on in these crimes. Imagine if jury members did this same exact thing when sentencing. Oh, Richard Ramirez went into a home. You know, he spared the woman and he spared her son. He just murdered her husband. Or imagine the jury hearing those details and absorbing everything he did in that house, which we know is far, far, far more than 22 seconds. I'm done.